Hello, this is Mike, NoStressMike.com. I want to talk some on traveling and preparing to travel. And in Pacific, I want to talk about diet, eating. I had someone come spend some time with me, and it was an Irish lad, and he had some difficulties in adjusting. And it's one of the things was the diet, the change of menu. And now he wasn't real talkative, so didn't get the whole story, but he is traveled. He's well traveled. He I say from Ireland, so he's traveled all over Europe, so he knows that. This was the first time in a third world country, but in his mind he's worked his way up to it. But one of the things that I never thought of, that he brought to my attention, was now when I go to different countries, I do the research, and one of the things that I research is their eating habits, because different parts of the world, their resources, what they have to eat varies. It differs. You know, if you're living by the ocean, if you're on an island, you're northern, you're southern. These all makes a difference on the type of food that they eat. That's one of the reasons I'm not real. I'm kind of picky on what I eat. I really am. Now I've got good reason for it. But even when I was younger, I was kind of picky on what I eat, and so I'm not and that's one reason that restricted my travel, my foreign travel, when I was younger than as I got older. When I was younger, like I say, I was really picky. Now I say I can not only I can cook for myself. I know where to get food I can eat. In other words, grocery stores or markets, street markets and stuff like that. I can find the vegetables that I can eat, and and fruit and stuff like that. So I'm a lot smarter now than what I was. And so, in other words, and that's one reason why I haven't gone to China, is because China, even though I am Chinese, I'm half Chinese, my family's Chinese, I've owned Chinese restaurants and all this kind of stuff, I know that the food they eat in China is not the same kind of food we get in Chinese restaurants. And they eat a lot of stuff that I wouldn't. So that's one reason why I've always shied away from going to China. Now they've adapted more for the Western taste, so things are a lot different now than what it was. That's why now I'm ready to go, but I say now I want to go with somebody. I don't want to go by myself. And then when I travel, I can travel for months at a time, and that's why it's hard for me to find somebody to go like that. And I say but the lad had problems with the diet, and finally when he started eating, he the only thing he ate was spaghetti and pizza. So and in other words, he didn't try to find the local foods that he was capable of eating. And see, this is something that you need to be aware of when it comes to surviving. And that's why it made it rough on him trying to survive, because of the diet. He didn't have the proper diet. And so then he lost weight, and then when he finally started with his pizza and spaghetti, it didn't give him the nutrition that he needed to be strong and healthy. So in other words, his health deteriorated while he was here. And so you need to think about this stuff and do your homework before you go to places. Ask questions. And but diet needs to be on the number one thing on your list on preparing. Now I know you're saying, well, this doesn't apply to me. I'm not going to no third world country. I'm not going to do. Okay, that I understand your limited thinking. That's what happens when people don't travel. They think every day is going to be the same. This is the way it's always been, so why would it be any different? And I help people survive shit-is-fan type situations. And those situations are not something that happens normal. In other words, they didn't happen yesterday, but today is a different day. And so in other words, when you're thinking about bugging out, when you're thinking about long range or long-term preparation and this type of stuff, you have to keep in mind your diet is going to change. And when this diet changes, you're going to have health issues. And you're saying, well, it's I know what I want. Okay, yeah, you're the smart one. How about the other guy? You know what I mean? So we have to be prepared. This stuff is going to happen. So diet is one of the things that you really have to be focused on. Now, and that's another thing I don't talk about it. I really probably should. But when I travel, now see, it's funny, before I leave the U.S., I always stop, and I hate giving them a plug, but I stop at Sam's, and I buy beans, I buy beef jerky, I buy the stuff that I know I can survive on. Oh, instant oatmeal. And I say really instant oatmeal, beans, rice, these are things that I know I can survive on. And in most cultures, I guess they call it mush down here, and the lad call it porridge. So, but they have that stuff. I mean, that's the kind of stuff you find everywhere. So I know rice I can eat, and beans I can eat. Some beans I don't like more than others, but it's very few. But I can live off of this stuff. And it's not that I do. I normally have, when I'm traveling down the road, and I say my beef jerky. I take what do you call it? Potato chips in a can. I take all that stuff. You'll see it when I put my nuts. Oh yeah, I get nuts at Sam's. So I take a lot. I mean, I get a lot of this stuff. These are things that the weather doesn't really affect it, and they pretty much have some kind of nutritional value. I don't know about the beef jerky. I don't eat beef that much anymore. I used to eat a lot. Now I don't eat much. But like I say, I might have one little piece of beef jerky, and then the rest is going to be nuts, beans, potato chips. I use potato chips because of the heat. That's why I get more salt. And, I don't like the idea of all the chemicals and grease, but you got to do the best you can. But I do that on one meal a day. I normally eat 2 meals a day too when I'm traveling. And that second meal will be a local meal. And now the lad did good. He would order stuff, and you don't look for me for help when it comes to anything in foreign languages. I don't speak foreign languages. So you look on a menu, what's this, what's that? I don't know. So to me, that's part of the adventure of travel, is I don't know what I want to get. I try my best to figure out something that I know what I'm going to get, and then I get it, and if it's edible, I'll eat it all. If not, I just learned something. Oh, and something else that I take with me is peanut butter and crackers. I say normally where I get them in bulk, so I get a whole big old package of peanut butter and crackers. And the peanut butter and crackers kind of slows the digestion down, so food doesn't just run right out of me, and it'll stay with me some. So, but I say, so if I order something in the restaurant, then I learn from what I ordered, and then I'll go back to wherever my supplies are and get after my nuts, peanut butter and crackers. So that'll fill me up. Another thing is bread. Most every place I've ever gone, they have bread. So bread's a good filler. It's not a good thing to be in your diet, but I say after you've experimented at the local restaurant, then that's what the bread is for. And like I say, that jar of peanut butter, put that on your bread. That'll kind of fill you up and hold things in. So, but diet is a very, very big thing. It's the number one thing that you need to be concerned about, you need to prepare for. And I see I haven't even got into I got freeze-dried food that I carry in my car. I got my backpack. It's emergency stuff, lightweight, doesn't take up much space. And I do eat my freeze-dried stuff every once in a while, just so I know what I'm getting. Now when I'm down here, I don't. When I'm in the States, when I can replace it, then I'll eat it up in the States and replace what I eat. But these are, you have to, I can't stress it so much, because I know the lad's diet was one of the things that changed. Now see, he was here to learn, to prepare, because he wanted to drive to the States with me, and that's going to be in a couple months. So I gave him a couple months to prepare mentally and physically for the trip. And the diet was one of the things that just shot everything out. I mean, it just made him lose focus on exactly what it was that he came here for. So diet is going to be one of the big things. And when you're running a three-man militia, when you're trying to take responsibility of a group of people, remember, when they don't have the proper nutrients, you're not going to get cooperation from them. So you have to be able to feed people. You have to be able, and then if you don't feed all these other people, they're going to get sick, and you're going to have problems. So you have to be concerned about these other people, and you're going to have some picky eaters, and you're going to have the words to be able to talk to him and get them to get over their difficulties. Now this was, he could leave anytime he wants, so that's no big deal. But in a shit fan situation, when the people you're responsible for do not take personal responsibility over their own diet, that's going to cause you further hardship on all kinds of levels. Now, I made a story where I talked about in the Vietnam crappy wartime stories, where I told about, I'm not going to go into detail, but I say in Vietnam, we had a guy that lost the will to fight. That's normally not a problem. I tell stories about how all that works. So, but that's not the thing. But what it was, when he lost the will to fight, it wasn't. He lost the will for other things, and one of the things was he lost the will to eat. Most of the time, people, when they get hungry enough, they'll eat anything. But when you really lose your will, then it changes. And so, in other words, when this guy lost his will to eat, he got weak. When he got weak, he couldn't carry his own stuff. So then the rest of the Marines had to carry his stuff. And then we were going up a mountain. And then eventually he lost his strength. He couldn't walk, he couldn't climb, couldn't do nothing. So we had to put him on our back, and we had to carry him up the mountain. And then eventually he got so weak we couldn't even do that. We had to tie a rope on him and pull him up to the next level and next level and next level. So in other words, he brought so much hardship on the other Marines, and it made them weak, in which it put us, all of our lives, in jeopardy. So that is, that I understand it's an extreme condition. I understand that. But it's basically, once you get the people that are going to be incapable of eating, whether it's they don't know how to feed themselves, they're incapable of feeding themselves, you know, it doesn't make any difference what the reason is. Once the people start getting weak from the food, they're going to be bitching, they're going to be causing more problems, in which everything is going to be a problem then. So that is something that you're going to have to face. Now I've had enough experience with it that I know how to handle it. It's not nice and it's not easy, but I know if I don't handle it, I know what it's going to turn into. And like I say, if they don't get the food, I can't say proper because it's just they're so picky about what it is they're going to eat. And then once they start weakening down, they're going to be bitching, and they're going to be just causing you all kinds of troubles. So, but that's something you need to keep in mind, and that'll ruin a trip. If you're on a vacation somewhere, and well, you know, if your kids are just whining, "Yeah, I want my hamburger," and all this kind of crap, it'll really ruin your vacation. So, but it's something you need to be thinking about in a shit hits the fan situation. This is Mike, NoStressMike.com.